Okay, it's game time. Hasta luego.
What up, it's Shankster94, and welcome to my all-new weapon review of Resident Evil Revelations 2. Now, in my previous video, which was the melee move review for this game, I explained a little bit about the similarities between this game and a couple of its predecessors. So I don't have much to say about that, other than that when it comes to the weapons, it's pretty much exactly the same as Revelations 1. In campaign, you acquire custom parts which you can attach and detach to certain weapons at any time. One major change, however, is that in raid mode, custom parts can no longer be detached once placed on a weapon. The only way to get that part back is to destroy the weapon, which actually costs you gold instead of gaining gold when you sell. If you want to open that upgrade slot back up, you have to destroy the part. So you must be thoughtful when using custom parts and weapons in raid mode. But when it comes to this weapon review in general, we won't worry about that because I'm not going to use custom parts anyway, just like my last several weapon reviews. There are, once again, some weapons exclusive to raid mode only, some of which are the 4 legendary weapons from the first Revelations, while the others are throwback weapons from previous games. Most of the regular weapons in this game are never seen before, so there's a little something for everyone when it comes to the weapons. Alright, enough talk, let's get on with the weapon review. So as always, I am going to start with the non-firearms, and the first subcategory of those non-firearms will be the knives, or I guess you could say melee weapons, because they're not all just regular knives. I'm going to start with the absolute regular knife. Alright, so the performance of the knife is the same as ever, just simple swing and slash. They brought back the follow-ups from Resident Evil 6, so your basic follow-up is a knife stab. Now, if you noticed in the testing between Claire and Barry, Barry slashed the knife faster than Claire did. That's because this game brings back the skill element from Resident Evil 6. Now, one of these skills happens to be Quick Knife. As you can see, when the level is maximized, your knife speed increases by 130%. So that is the only reason why Barry slashed the knife quicker than Claire did, because I don't have this skill equipped with Claire in raid mode. Alright, I just realized something after I recorded that clip showing off the knife skill. Some of these skills actually affect the weapons in terms of firepower, and I'm going to be going through the review with these skills activated. I can't deactivate them in campaign mode. So you need to be aware of this throughout the weapon review, so something different happens when you do it yourself, and you're wondering why. So here are the ones to really mainly be aware of. This one, the Hurler. Apparently my sub-weapons will be 150% more powerful than normal. Then you got this one, Change Up. Increase firepower for the first shot after changing weapons. I'm going to try my best to avoid this one, but I feel like I'm going to instantly forget once I get going with the weapon review. Then you got Batter Up, increase the attack power of Moira's Crowbar. So it's quite a bit more powerful than when you start the game for the first time. Same with this one, Laying Bricks. Natalia's attack power with the brick. This one I'm not too worried about, but apparently my attack power is 10% higher if I attack 5 seconds after switching characters. I'm pretty sure that's not going to happen. Now there's this one, increase firepower when 10% of ammo remains. Once again, I'll try to avoid it. I'll make sure my clip's not almost empty when I'm testing the weapon on enemies. And then here's a major one, Hair Splitter. Increase knife attack power and your movement speed while attacking. So the knife is going to be a little more powerful than when you first start the game as well. Alright, so you're aware of those skills. Take that into account. So that's important. Alright, so there are 2 basic enemies in this game. There are the Rotten, which are basically regular zombies. And there's the Afflicted, which are like the more intelligent zombies, or the crazy people. Sort of like Magini, Ganado, Joavo, all that stuff. Alright, so I'm going to test the regular knife on a Rotten. One quick thing though, before I do, I am conducting this weapon review in normal difficulty. Alright, so it took 2 to 3 slashes to take down a Rotten in normal mode. Now, once again, remember, I have a skill activated that makes the knife's power a little more powerful than when you first start with it. So at the very beginning of the game, when you have no skills whatsoever, it's possible it might take up to 5 slashes against a Rotten. And Rotten are generally pretty weak throughout this game, so yeah, even then, it shouldn't be too hard to take them down, and they're pretty slow going. When they fall to the ground like that, generally one hit from anything will finish them off. Or when they get stunned as well. Alright, that is it for the knife. Alright, now for the next melee weapon, Moira's Crowbar. Now you get this at the very beginning of the campaign, and it is the only weapon Moira can use throughout the campaign. Although she can use all the sub-weapons, so she's not completely helpless. Alright, let's test the Crowbar out. Alright, this crowbar can be used for other purposes other than using it as a weapon. You also need it to unlock certain doors throughout Claire's campaign, and to unlock those chests that you find throughout. So I'm gonna test the crowbar on an afflicted. Alright, so 2 to 3 hits with the crowbar to take down an afflicted. Now again, remember that this is more firepower than you would normally have at the very start of the game because of that skill I have. Once you have that skill, that crowbar is a pretty good weapon, and it could stun your enemies pretty easily to allow for a melee attack. Alright, well I know for a fact that it can take way more than 3 hits sometimes, especially if you're on a harder difficulty and you don't have that skill. I'm pretty sure I've witnessed up to like 6 hits before they finally even got stunned. So yeah. Alright, that is it for the crowbar. Now for the next melee weapon, the brick. Now this can only be used by Natalia, so at least she gets some sort of defense throughout the game. And it could actually come in handy too. Alright, let's test it out. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and test the brick on a Rotten.
The monster's coming!
Alright, so I was unable to defeat a Rotten with the brick when I just normally hit them with it. However, if I threw the brick, it only took 1 hit. So I don't see any point in just trying to hit your enemy to death like that. I guess that's better fit for smaller enemies, such as the giant whip spider, for instance, since it's so small and only 1 hit can do it. But throwing the brick at Rotten is a great way to defeat him. If not, at least stun him, because in harder difficulties, they do not die in 1 hit every time. You should always try to aim for their head, even though I'm going for the body shots in all of these tests, simply to give you the most default damage result. But you should always go for the head, and if you throw the brick at the head of your enemies, at least half the time you will actually defeat them with that hit. If not, then you'll floor them and could easily defeat them with Barry afterward. Alright, so that is it for the brick. Alright, I have covered all of the regular melee weapons in the game. Now to review the bonus melee weapons. The first one is the short sword. Short sword with more range and attack power than the knife. So in order to obtain the short sword, you must complete the campaign in normal mode with an S rank. And as it says, when you use bonus weapons, you will get penalized when it comes to your grade. So I would only use bonus weapons if you just want to go through the campaign for fun. Or if you want to farm for ammo, because that doesn't affect that. When you complete a mission, your ammo still carries over. Alright, so let's go ahead and test the short sword out. Alright, so the short sword is used exactly like a knife. Everything that you could do with the knife, you could do with the short sword as well. The only difference is it's a little more powerful and it's a longer range. Alright, so I'm going to test the short sword on an afflicted. Alright, so it seems that at least in normal mode, one hit will either kill an afflicted or floor them. And like I said earlier, flooring an enemy generally means they're at the end of their health bar, and one hit from anything will defeat them. Higher difficulties, you will definitely get more than one hit, and the short sword is more powerful than the knife. So you could probably do a knife fight against a couple more powerful enemies with a short sword. Depends on how skilled you are and whether or not you want to risk the C rank for it. Alright, that is it for the short sword.
Stop it! Get your hands out of her!
Now for the next bonus melee weapon, the Katana. A Japanese sword with a large cutting radius and strong damage capabilities. So this bonus weapon can only be used by Moira. It replaces her crowbar. And to unlock it, you must beat the campaign in invisible mode. Alright, let's test the Katana out. Some ninja maneuvers there. The Katana is pretty overpowered. One of my friends likes to say that. So, regular enemy is just not gonna do. I think I'm gonna test the Katana on a Vulcan blubber. Okay, so it literally only took 2 slashes to take down a Vulcan blubber, which is a lot more powerful than any of the normal enemies. Like, you'll expend a lot of bullets trying to defeat them, is what I'm trying to say. And this thing took it down in just 2 slashes. So yeah, that's why I say the Katana is really overpowered. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people who have played this game can agree. But that doesn't mean it's a bad weapon. Alright, that is it for the Katana. Now for the last melee weapon, the meat grinder. A construction drill. Demolishes anything within its limited reach. So this is yet another bonus weapon, and you unlock this by completing the campaign on survival difficulty. Alright, let's test it out. Alright, it looks like you can do some major destruction with this weapon. And no wonder it's called a meat grinder, because you could really jack someone up with this thing. Alright, ironically, I am going to test this on Mutant Pedro, who wields it himself when he mutates. So, I'm going to try to defeat him with it. There's no capacity or percentage, it's infinite. So, we're just going to see how long it takes to defeat Pedro with this thing.
Run, Moira! Run!
Alright, so it took a decent amount of time. It took longer than I thought it might have taken. Then again, I was probably hitting his drill half the time, and when you hit that, it doesn't cause him any damage whatsoever. But the point is, the meat grinder is infinite, it can be used endlessly, so you can test it on any enemy if you wish. Alright, in raid mode, Pedro has the drill as an active skill. Except he doesn't use it regularly like in campaign, he can only do a charge attack with it. I showed this off already in the melee move review, but I'm going to go ahead and show it off here as well. So let's quickly see what Pedro can do with the drill. Alright, so along with that drill attack, there are some characters in raid mode that have specific skills like that. For instance, Leon has a shockwave skill. Most of these skills I already showed off in the melee move review. If you want to see them, just refer to my melee move review. The shockwave is one, as well as Gabe's ground pound. Alright, so I guess that is it for the meat grinder.